Welcome to today's session of Candid Talk. Today we will be talking about the joy of womanhood. And I am with Agiso Oduno. I'm going to allow you to tell us who you are. Who is Agiso?
Thank you very much, Julia, for having me on the show today. As you've heard, my name is Agiso Oduno. I am a transformation life coach. I've been coaching and working with women for over 25 years, and I'm very passionate about people living a transformed lifestyle. So what I do is I come alongside them and help them to identify what are the limiting thought patterns, the barriers that cause them not to move forward to achieve their destiny, and then help them to develop strategies so that they are empowered and they're able to move forward and achieve their destiny.
Now, you said something that touched me. You said something about wanting to help women to be at their best. And what came to my mind is that most women, and indeed everyone, live below their potential. And they never get to where they're supposed to be going. And it's because sometimes I feel they focus on what they do not have. Occasionally somebody will be looking at, oh, I'm a single parent. Oh, I don't have a degree. Oh, I don't have this kind of social class. And it kind of seems to limit them. What would you say about that?
Yes, you're right, Julia, because those are some of the limiting mindsets that we want to work with women, because most of the times we look at ourselves and we don't understand who we are in the totality of our identity. And even as the children of God or Christians, many people don't understand what that identity portends for them in terms of what they're able to do, how they can overcome their limitations. So many times you find people saying that they can't do things because they don't understand what power is within them. And so we need to move them to live a transformed mindset that will then help them to move to where they need to be. Yeah.
And who really are we? Who are we,
Yes.
Who really is a woman, according to you?
Well, for me, I would look at it this way. I'm anchored, of course, by the Proverbs 31 woman. First of all, a woman has her identity in Christ. That for me is very important, that you know who you are and what your role is as a woman, and exactly what God expects you to be as a woman. And then there are different roles that we play, of course, as a mother, as a wife, as a child, as a sister, or whatever. But understanding who I am, first of all, then helps me understand my womanhood. It helps me understand what is my purpose. What has God created me for? Because each one of us has got different purposes. So understanding my identity as a child of God, then as a woman of God, I think that is the basic, that is the most important thing.
So I'm thinking that we'll come to the roles, but I'm thinking about self-awareness, What is it that we are looking in ourselves to know about in order to really enjoy who we are, You remind me of something. I was talking to my son one time. So he had just graduated with a diploma in music. And so we asked him, tell us something about you. Tell us, what is it you think that you should speak about? He said, I think we should learn to be team me, You can never let yourself down. Then he tells us, my parents can let me down. My friends can let me down. But I have to make sure that I never let myself down. And so I'm thinking to myself, when you have that self-awareness, then you know how to live with yourself, to enjoy yourself, to be the woman you want to be, And so what would you say about that?
Well, self-awareness really is becoming aware of who you are in terms of not only emotional. We can talk about also emotional intelligence as who you are. So you become self-aware of, yourself emotionally. You become aware of yourself, of how to manage your emotions. You become aware of what triggers your ups and your downs, and how certain things in the past have affected your emotions, and how these experiences, how do they play out in the place that you are right now, in your sphere that you are. You're aware of your social relationships. How do you come across in society when you're with people? And then you also become aware of, again, who you are internally as a child of God. So you find that many times when people are not aware of the things that have influenced them as they're growing up, and talking about your family and your son, your family has had an influence on him, and he may not be aware of some of the positive and negative things that have happened to him as a child. Exactly. These are the experiences that he needs to be aware of. He's coming to you. I'm sure he was aware of that. Yes. So people also need to understand when they go through the education system, how does that influence them? What does that do to them? Then you look at things like your religion, what you believe, what is your belief system? What has that got to do with you? What are your values? Then you look at the surrounding, the politics, for instance. How is that affecting you? Right now, there's quite a bit, of heightened activity politically. But how is that affecting you as a person? And you look at your traditions and your culture. What has it deposited in you that makes you think a certain way? And most important, and I think it's something that's coming up very, very much these days, Julia, is the media and entertainment. Right, yeah. So how, is the media defining you as a woman? So you need to be aware of where are you getting your definition for who you are. Yeah.
Now, what you make me think of is this man. I like reading. There's this man called Charles Swindoll, and there's a place where he says that who we are is 10% our reactions, I think, and 90% something else, And I'm thinking to myself, how you navigate through life. So in a sense, we really need to be very deliberate about where are we going in life. Yes, this is who I am, but what will help me to get to my next level? To get to where I'm going to. That's what I'm thinking, But you touched something on the roles. Occasionally, I think that the women get so caught up with the roles that we can actually forget who we are because of the roles. There's an example that I like to talk about when in the Bible, when not Jacob, who is this? Yeah, when Jacob married Rachel and Leah. Yes. Now, you hear them saying, Leah was getting many children, and because she was not loved, God had given her more children. Yes. And so she would say, now I will be called blessed because I've gotten yet another child. And so sometimes we think that our role could be to get babies for the husband or to do this for the husband, because there's more to life than what I do for my husband. I want him to be a happy man. However, who I am is not just always what I give him when he wants, what I do if I get many children, So what do you think about the roles in life and our roles, even in the society? Exactly. The way the society looks at us, And there's something I asked in our Zoom meeting at some point where we were talking about people saying, I am fighting for my rights. Who took them? At what point did you give those rights? And so we get caught up in the roles. We get caught up in thinking, I have to get what is mine, instead of just enjoying being the woman,
Yeah, Julia, I'm reminded of Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, and I think she was being interviewed, and she was asked, we only see you wearing a certain type of suit or something, and she says, I'm not a model. And that really touched me. I know, right? Yeah, because she knew who she is.
Caught up in fashion.
Yeah, she's not a model. She knows who she is. Yeah. And then they talked about the role of her husband at home. And she said that she and her husband, they do the shopping together. He cooks sometimes, she cooks. You know, so there's these dual or multiple roles that we play in society. Look at somebody like Angela Merkel. She's the chancellor, but at home, she's the wife. Yeah, she's cooking, you know, and there doesn't seem to be a dilemma or a disparity in the roles. There's no competition, yeah. So when we understand our womanhood and what God created us to be, we'll know that at one point we may be the CEO of this big company. But when we come home, we are the wife and mother in that home, and we are serving our husbands.
That is so true. Yeah. In one of, you know, I think this servanthood thing is really nice. In one of our interviews, I was talking with Reverend Jesse Mwai, and he was saying the man is the servant in the home. Yes. There needs to be servanthood. Yes. But you know what? Yeah. So is the lady. Yeah. You know, we are supposed to serve our children. Yes. We're supposed to serve our husbands. Yes. And I think that really just comes out so well, you know.
And there's no, like I said, there's no dilemma, there's no conflict when you know who you are. Because just like, you know, you come into, and I think that it's a gift that God has given us, Julia, because we can be many things to many people. Just look at it, when you come from work, you know, and you quickly dash to the kitchen to fix the evening meal, and then your aunt calls you, you know, now that position is, your role there is a wife, okay? Then your aunt calls you, oh, your uncle is sick, something is happening. So you begin to encourage your aunt. And in that position, or that role you're playing is a counselor. Okay, and then your child has something, you know, that they need, and you go and you hug your child, and you know they're telling you about how the day was. Maybe they were, yeah, you're back to the mother. You're nurturing, you see, and then somebody calls from the office and they need direction from you. What shall we do, Madam CEO, on this? You're back to the role, all in one evening, maybe happening in the span of 1 or 2 hours. You have played several different roles. And there's no conflict.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I think understanding what we bring as women, womanhood is multifaceted. We're emotional. You know, that's how God created us. But yet we're the strong ones. We're the ones that nurture. We're the ones that bring up the children. We're the pillars in the home. Yeah.
But I'm thinking of sometimes how we allow the labels that people put on us. You know, talking about somebody not looking at fashion and thinking fashion, people should define for me what I put on. I should be the one who makes fashion, you know? Yeah, right. People should be thinking the way she dresses, I want to be like that. Right. I should not be saying I want to walk naked because everyone is walking naked. But then it brings me to the fact that sometimes the labels that people put on us. When I was growing up, there was this musician, of course traditional musician, and he was singing about this woman. This woman was a head teacher at the time. We used to call them headmistress. Yes. Yeah. And so this lady was learned, she had money, and so this guy was singing, a beautiful woman like you, you know, with so much money. Why aren't you married? And I'm asking, why should she be married? You know, so I think that sometimes people try to make us, the fact that I am married is nice. Yes. But if I meet somebody else, my friend who stays here is not married, but she's my good friend. And what makes her is not that she's not married or she's married. And so sometimes I also think that we permit the world to label us. And so we start running after the labels to be who they want us to be. What would you say about that?
Julia, that's why it all comes down to your identity.
Thank you.
If you know who you are, and like we've seen, some of we call them the mind molders, things that mold you, the things that have made you who you are, your experiences. And as we're talking about, you know, the things that people said to you as a child, oh, you should be like this, oh, you're hopeless, oh, you're useless. Those are labels people put on us. But we need to go past that, and we need to realize that these are just labels, but who we are inside of us. Society should not dictate who we should be. You know, the fact that media when they're advertising a sleek new car, this red BMW, whatever the latest model, and beside it is this tall, beautiful woman, and so society is dictating that that's what a woman, that's womanhood, and that's what we should look like. And yeah,
short and fat.
And fat, but yeah, curvy, and just lovely and wonderful in your way. So each understanding that that whatever society or whoever it is that has labeled us does not define us. We need to, and that's what I do in helping women, help them to move past the labels that society has put on them, so that they're able to, as it were, unleash themselves, break free, like a little, butterfly when it's breaking free from the cocoon, break free from what the bondages that have been put on them in terms of what role they should play and who they should be. So understanding who you are, it all boils down to that for me, and understanding that your potential. And then again, Julia, in Psalms 139, I think was 13 to 15 there I was reading, do you know that God has a book for each one of us? And each one of us is written our life's purpose and the days that He has for us.
We really will come back to that purpose.
Right, so each one of us has an identity. So discovering what your identity, my identity is not the same as yours, Julia. Yeah, and neither is my daughter's identity my identity. So many people take on a false identity. And so we need to get them to discover, who am I and what has God created me to be? What is my gifting? And how will that help me in my role as a woman? So
I think sometimes that in the process of allowing the world to define us, we believe more what they're saying. Exactly. I was just telling somebody, I know myself better than any other person does, because I sleep with me. Even if I dream, my husband has no clue what I'm dreaming. I think with me. I walk with me. I know what kind of journey I've been through in life. And so even when somebody would meet me in a certain season of my life and say, but Julie, oh, she's so mean. But in my life, I'm thinking, at this point, I'm not quite mean. I just don't have enough, I just don't have enough. And so sometimes I think it's really nice to believe what we know about ourselves, because nobody knows me like me. Even the thoughts that sometimes go on through our minds, as you're walking, a thought just passes through your mind, and you can't go and express it to somebody exactly the way it came, And so I think it really helps to believe in ourselves. To me.
Right, to me, it's true, because what we have believed, Julia, is a lie. We believe, and many times, and part of what I do, again, Julia, is to help people understand and unpack the lies that they have believed about themselves. And we juxtapose it against the truth of God. So many of us have believed we are incapable because somebody said that to, growing up, somebody said, you're useless. So I believed the lie all my life. So I go around believing that I'm useless, but that's a lie. What does the Bible say about me? What does God say about me? So believing in yourself, yes, and going back and again, back to the self-awareness, going back to the point, when did I start believing this lie? And what is the truth that I needed to to replace the lie with? What truth should I be thinking about? And so believing in me is true. We need to believe in me, but we really need to unpack what is the truth about who I am versus the lies that I'm hearing. Yeah, and the lies that I'm hearing are our inner voice. We call it the internal voice of self-judgment. Yeah, you're constantly judging yourself.
We are so harsh on ourselves, but also thinking that what can I do to better myself? If I'm prone to fear, what can I do not to be too fearful. If I'm prone to judging myself too much or believing too little about myself, what can I do to get out of that, you know? And as I think of that, I think I want you to touch on something on low self-esteem, you know. Yes, what causes low self-esteem in us? Because if we know what causes low self-esteem, then as you're looking at, this is who I am, this is something that can cause me to have low self-esteem, how can I deal with it so that I'm not having that low self-esteem?
So low self-esteem basically is the way that we look at ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves, and who we believe we are. All right, we may believe that we are a certain type of person because of something that happened to us in the past. And it's very interesting that you're asking that, because many times when we work with women, we find that when you bring them to the point where they established the event that caused them to have the low self-esteem.
They can deal with it, yes.
Yeah. So what causes low self-esteem, Julia, is when all these areas we've talked about, in your family, for instance, when you were young in your family, an uncle said to you, what's wrong with you? You're so big. You know, you should be, you're so big, you should be in a higher class. You know, you only started 7, you're so big. You know, so and our minds are like this. They store information in the subconscious mind, and usually that information is stored, it's attached to an emotion. So you begin to feel you're too big for life, okay? You should make yourself smaller, you should go on every diet on the earth, and you should, the big is bad, small is good, you know? So you believe a lie. And as you go on in life, your teacher says something to you, oh, you're useless, you know, or your uncle or your caregiver or people in the field, you know, children are merciless to each other on the playground, you know. So they say something to you, they label you, oh, kichwa, or, you know, maybe your head is slightly small or bigger, or, you know, you have maybe some sort of form of disability. They label you. And then that is when you begin to see and to believe the lies that are being said about you. It's not true. So going back, and many times we go on a journey down the river of our life, and we try to identify the lies that Satan told us, or people told us, that we stored in our minds, we have believed, and that is what gives us the low self-esteem, because we believe a lie. We believe something that is totally not true about us. And then another thing that causes low self-esteem, yeah.
Before you go to the other thing, you made me think of 2 things. One, there's a young girl that I was in the estate with, and everyone always said that she was big, you know, too big for, why are you playing with younger children? Yes. And yet the other ones were just small-bodied, but her age. Right. Do you know, with time she began to walk bent? Yes, yes. Yeah. The other thing it reminded me of, and I'm glad you're talking about it, maybe you're helping me. Yes. When I was in class 1, my teacher said that I would not go to class 2 because I'm not clever enough. There were some twins, you know, that I was in the same class with. And for a long time, I didn't think I could do well in class. In fact, sometimes I thought I should have been, you know, those people who are number 1 every time. But I never got to it because I've been told, you know what, you're not good enough. Exactly. I can even remember her name.
Yes, and you see, that's the teacher you'll never forget. No! You'll forget all the other teachers, but this one, and what she said, really cut you. Yes. And it really damaged you and wounded you. Yes. Yeah.
I would just walk home. I see my mother loving me, and I'm thinking, gosh, I wish she knew who I am, you know. I'm not good enough, you know. Yeah, so I think that what people say in our lives is really important.
It's very important. And it's also important for us to realize that when they say something, to question it, is there any truth in it? Like when your teacher said that, you know, and I growing up, I was told I'm a stupid African woman, I'll never amount to anything, you know. Unfortunately, I had gone to a school where it was a mixed race school, and our teacher happened to be an Indian, and we were, Africans, Indians, and So I was told I'm a stupid African girl, and I'll never amount to anything. But Julie, I thank God for my mother, because when I went home crying and saying what the teacher had told me, she says that's not true, and she says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And we countered that lie. It has taken a long time in my life to like to believe the truth about yourself. And then again, Julia, when somebody says something like that, and then you own it, and then you begin to compare yourself with other people. I'm not as good as so-and-so. I'm not as clever as so-and-so. I'm not as beautiful as so-and-so. I'm not as slim and pretty as so-and-so. But you are you. And you have, each one of us, God has invested in us gifts and talents.
You brought in what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the scripture that says we are one body with different parts. Yes. All of us do different things. And so I don't have to do what Agiso is so good at doing. And the fact that I'm not able to do what Agiso is doing doesn't make me any inferior. Yes, it just makes me who I am. That I'm good at what I'm doing, and she is good at what she's doing, So I think that that's what pulls most women backwards, yes. We are too busy comparing ourselves. I may not be the sub-personality that somebody else is, The more quiet people tend to wish they were as talkative. As who are talkative are saying, oh my goodness, she's so quiet and nice. I want to be like them, But that just complements. It helps us to complement one another, yes. And so to be that part of the body that we expected to be. Each one playing their role. Each one playing their role.